10K above months.
Downloaded it. I checked the date, July of 2021. And then I left my job in September of 2021.
Since then, I've sold websites. I've pivoted my business. I'm no longer doing social media management.
What has been like your highest month?
13K.
It has literally changed my life.
When you were designing on WordPress, were you charging way less? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, way less. I think my first WordPress was like $500.
$500 for a WordPress site versus like up to $5,000 for a Showit site. Welcome back to this episode, you guys. I am seriously so excited to have Madison here with me. She's a student, and I'm seriously so excited to just learn more about you. I know a little bit, but I'm going to be just as excited as everyone watching this to actually just like hear about the journey, the process, and hear about how you've gotten to where you are today and being a traveler and traveling the world and having the freedom and all the things. So hello, Madison, and welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I've been following you for such a long time now, so I'm super excited to get to chat.
I love it. Well, why don't you fill us in? Who is Madison?
Ooh, I love it. I'm originally from Minnesota, so like growing up in a quieter place, I knew I wanted to get out and travel. So I immediately like moved to LA for college, and my whole college career, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Studied law and business, and then I graduated like peak pandemic. So that whole thing kind of got thrown out the window. I spontaneously decided to move to Hawaii, and I lived there for like a year, which completely changed my perspective on life and work-life balance. And I knew when I left the island that I wanted to do something completely different, much more creative. So I tried a lot of different things, which you can kind of get into the background of how it all played together. But throughout this whole journey, I was doing freelance web design. I've been doing it since high school. It started as like a random school project and was always kind of my safety net when I needed extra cash or I, was feeling spontaneous about working in a project. And after finding your courses like a year ago, I kind of just got the confidence I needed to go full in on it full time. So I've been full blown on Click Creative, which is my web design business now, for about 6 months. It's been such a crazy journey, but it really allows me to live this digital nomad lifestyle that I've always craved. And I'm just I'm loving where I'm at.
I love that. That's so amazing. I relate deeply on the digital nomad lifestyle. I knew no one who really traveled more than like 2 weeks a year. And I was like, that's miserable. That's not the life that I want. So I resonate with that on like a deep spiritual level.
Yeah, it's such a unique way of like living because it's so different from vacation, and you have to have a career or a stream of income that works within that in order to make it possible. And I tried before with like my 9 to 5, and it was just so not the vibe. So, I mean, you have to have a unique combination of things going on in your life. But I mean, working for yourself is totally the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious if there was a time that gave you that like permission or insight on that digital nomad life. Because I know that there were a few times where I was like, it was almost like an aha moment. I'm like, wait, what? You can like literally make money while you travel? What are you talking about? Was there a specific time for you that was unlocked?
Yeah, I think there were two that were really impactful. The first was just like my general experience in Hawaii. I worked in a surf shop while I was there, and just the family I grew up in, where I went to college, I didn't know anybody that was doing that. And it was always like monetary success comes from, working really hard at your job, and you work all the time, but that's what makes you happy. And it always just felt a little off for me. And so when I moved to Hawaii and I met this entire community of people that just like work or live to work, not work to live. And it just really opened up like the concept of you don't have to do that to be happy. And I was like, I don't think I could be happy doing that. So when I left the island, I got a remote 9 to 5, and I immediately started traveling. And I remember I moved into this like work hostel for a month, and everybody else there was like older than me and really successful at what they were doing, but they were doing it remote because it was the pandemic. And I think just seeing that people were able to be successful. And I remember like a specific guy was like a C-suite guy and he was in my hostel. And I was like, how is this possible? How are you running a company from here?
Wow.
And the more I traveled, the more I expanded the people I knew in that community. And it just gave me that confidence to be like, it's possible. You just have to figure out how to do it. And everybody's path looks different. But I mean, sometimes you just need to meet like one person that does it and it'll kick you over the edge.
Totally. Yeah. You need someone who's kind of leading by example and it
Mhm.
shows the possibility. And you're like, wait, I can do that.
I can do
I
that.
can do that. Yeah.
I can do that.
I love it. So you mentioned that you did web design in high school
Mhm.
when you were going through this phase in Hawaii and you were like unlocking these new potentials for yourself. Was it always web design? Like, was it very clear when you were like, I want to do this. I want to be, able to travel, build this remote life, build a business. Was it obvious or did you have to kind of get there?
Looking back, it seems like it should have been obvious because I've always been so passionate about it. I mean, I built my first website as like a school project in high school, and I started like just a couple months later charging people for sites, like really small ones for like a couple $100s. But it was always something that I would go back to if I needed money or just like a creative outlet. Like honestly, I would make websites for my friends as like their birthday present. It'd be like a live scrapbook. Like it was just such a creative outlet for so long. Oh my God, it was so fun. I need to get back to doing more of those because it's like the most unique gift ever. But I've always loved like the creative side of it. I think maybe for that reason, I didn't want to like cross that line and be like, now I have to rely on this for my entire livelihood because I think I was worried that I might lose that passion. So I tried other things that were more creative and I was passionate about. Like I worked for a while as a professional chef and that was so fun and so creative and so entrepreneurial, but didn't have that like flexibility aspect to it. And I mean, I dabbled in social media marketing and influencer management and digital marketing and things like that, but nothing ever really felt right until I really sat down and did the business plan and was like, no, this is something I could do every day.
I love that. I'm curious, what did your business plan look like when you were mapping it out?
Honestly, so different from what my business looks like right now, which I think is really good and important and was hard for me at the beginning, but I studied entrepreneurship like in college. Like that was a minor that I got. So, they would give you all these templates. And I think nowadays, especially as an entrepreneur, like it's important to be really fluid with your business plan at the beginning. But it was always, designed around the life that I wanted to live because that's why I decided to go this route. And so any like major changes I've made have just been, changing my services or my delivery around how I can live, even more of the life that I want.
Yeah. So what does your life look like now? Like fill us in from there to now.
Oh my gosh. Big changes recently in my personal life that have kind of like changed my work life, which is nice that I have that flexibility. Nowadays, I'm based in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I just travel from here. So usually I like to go for like minimum a month at a time to a place just because I'm way more of a like immerse yourself in the culture kind of person. And then also, when I have like a big client load, you have to have reliability and I can't be taking 3-day weeks all the time. But yeah, usually it's just going somewhere, parking it for a month. I love to find clients that are in the area that I'm in. Like, I just think that that's such a fun way to, I don't know, like interact with the community. And usually if you're traveling somewhere, unless it's like a major European city, there's probably always a need for something like that. So I usually do like, I don't know, a tourism board I just did or something like that just to really like get a feel for the place. But yeah, I mean, I try and intertwine my work and life as much as I can.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, it really is like the laptop lifestyle. Like you only need Wi-Fi and a laptop to make it work. Like really.
And like one shirt that you can put over your swimsuit so that you look professional. I have my one shirt that always comes with me.
Oh my gosh. I freaking love that. That is amazing. Wow. that I like know that well, because obviously my life has changed a bit. I don't know if you've like been watching super closely, but we like settled down, we like bought a house. But
Your house is like on my Pinterest board. It's
Thank
so
you.
gorgeous.
Thank you. It's incredible. I love it. But also my heart is like so like you. Like I want to do the month-long trips to Bali and working from my laptop so bad, but I have to compromise because I'm married and Will like doesn't want to leave for more than 5 hours.
Yeah.
So we have to meet in the middle. But the digital nomad lifestyle is truly unlike anything else. Like the times that I was in that, it honestly boosts yourself up like in a very respectful way, with how many people genuinely work a job every day that they hate and they don't have the freedom, they aren't fulfilled, they aren't able to let alone see the world. They're like not even happy in their day to day. It genuinely is like, it feels like you're living on a different caliber. You're like, I literally made it. Like, this is so incredible. Does it feel like that when you're traveling and working from your laptop?
I mean, it does on the good days, but I think I had to combat a lot of like just preconceived notions I had about work and about success. You know, when you're starting a business, even though I've been very successful and I've been very lucky, like there are moments and times when I'm not hitting my goals or when, you know, I'm confused about how to buy health insurance for myself or all these different things. And I come from a background of people that are so successful in a very traditional way. And I think I really had to break a lot of ideas that I had about myself. And it's still something that I struggle with just because, you know, if I have a bad month, it's not the same. You don't have that stability as other people. And sometimes when I would find like, I would feel really insecure when I would complain about like a bad month at work versus my friends who are doing the same thing, but it's all on you and it's a lot of pressure. And, you know, it is just the flip side of that coin of like, yeah, it's so fun and exciting, especially when I'm talking to my friends who hate their jobs.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to older people or, you know, older family members or things like that, like there's so much, do you have a job? Like, are you, you know, just a lot of other stuff that comes along with it. And it's so worth it. But I think there is that total other side of the coin where it's like, you really got to be confident in taking a risk and knowing that there are times when you're going to question your decisions and just like be okay with that, stick it out.
Absolutely. It's like the highs can be so high, the potential is so there, but with that, there's always the other side, and it's like the lows can be really low, and especially on your point of needing to reprogram your mindset if you have been conditioned and you've been raised a certain way. It definitely is. It's like active work that you have to do to be like, okay, actually, like, I'm going to push through this because this is uncomfortable because no one else around me understands what I'm going through.
Yeah. I mean, nobody else that I know that I haven't met while traveling does what I do. So it can feel a little like, especially as you get older, you're like, what am I doing? Oh, wait, I'm doing this awesome thing and I want to do it. And you have to remind yourself of that. But yeah,
do the trips and like when you meet people, because when you're in a hostel or you're like, you know, on the beach and you're like getting drinks with people who are all doing the same things, you know, different like career paths, but same concept. It's probably less isolating where you're like, okay, this is like why I do what I do. I know I'm not alone on this. But then when you go home and you're like with family, you might be like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, you get that. I don't know. Having community in anything is great, which is why like your online community has been so fun to follow, or there's some others that are more specific to like travelers and digital nomads. And I think when I think like long-term goals, that's something I would love to help facilitate for people just because I think, you know, it is so isolating because everything is online. Like even those friendships that I make with those travelers, it's great, but now we really only communicate online. And when you are living your like day to day, you don't get coworkers, you don't get that, you know, we're in this together type of feeling. And I think that it's just so important to seek that out and like hold on to it when you find it because you know it's not given to you the way that it is in like general corporate America.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's the hardest challenge of working online. You're isolated. Like yes, you can build relationships that can be so fruitful and meaningful on social media. At the end of the day, it's on social media. Like even though we've communicated, and every student I've ever like communicated, it's like I feel like I know you, but then when we talk, it's like, well, I actually don't know you that well,
Yeah.
you know? And it really is, I think, so meaningful to be able to build a community in person because we don't get those coworkers. We don't get that like everyday camaraderie with people. And I think if you want that, you kind of have to like search for it. Yeah.
Which is why it must be so fun, like working, like living with your business partner. Like you have your favorite coworker like baked in.
It's so true. Honestly, I think I would go fucking crazy if I didn't have Will. And honestly, like everything, there's like pros and there's cons because him and I are obviously married. So there's a lot of like, we'll go out to a nice dinner. We should totally be talking about like husband and wife stuff. And we're literally business partners, like talking about business.
Like, have you heard about that?
Exactly. So yeah, it's like you have to then balance business and relationship. And it's sometimes hard to, you got to find the middle ground. But overall, I mean, it's worth it. Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned you obviously charged a couple $100s in high school for your websites, which I love. Such a slay. Like, love the confidence in that. Do you remember like how much you charged for your first website?
My first couple websites were free for sure.
Okay.
But I think the first one I charged for, I think it was like $500. It was an auto body shop. And I'm pretty sure they rehired someone to like redo it less than a year later. So what can you do? But I mean, I tried and it published and it worked. So it was a good project.
And it was $500. So they could
$500. Oh my God. When you're 16, $500 is like, I don't even know what I did with it. Shoes probably.
The fact that you were 16 charging for websites is honestly so incredible. Like that is inspiring.
Well, I've always been so like entrepreneurial. Like I remember like babysitting. I started babysitting when I was like 12, but I had like 3 babysitters that would work under me that I'd refer out, and I had business cards, and like I always knew that I wanted to run a business. It was just like waiting for it to click, waiting to find like the product that I was passionate about. And I don't know, web design, I guess.
Hence the clicked creative. It's pretty aligned.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So if you're comfortable talking about numbers for a second, because that's what everyone wants to hear. What has it looked like evolving into the web designer that you are today? Like what are you charging, and how are you finding the clients that are willing to pay for these websites?
Yeah, so obviously it's been very on and off over the years. I think I sat around like 1,500 for a custom project for a really long time, just because I didn't know what I could charge. And that has changed significantly since kind of joining like your universe and getting a lot more reference points of what other people are charging. So now I still do a lot of custom projects. I'd like to do more of like in a week or like in a day type of projects. But I mean, when it comes to custom, the biggest project I did was I think 12K, which was like so exciting for me. That was a couple months ago. But I'd say most of the time we're sitting around like 450 for like a 5-page website. And that's just on Showit. So nowadays, if I'm doing anything off of Showit, it's generally more expensive just because the platform is so unique and how like quickly you can replicate things and make things feel more custom.
Yeah.
And then, I do some day rates too. The pricing, I think it's increased like every 4 months just because I get more confidence and I learn more skills and I can deliver so much more and more succinctly. I always like reinvest in my customer experience. And so once I know that that's good to go, then I feel more comfortable charging more, which has allowed me to do like a lot of growth when it comes to pricing in the last like 6 months.
Yeah. And to clarify, you said 450. Do you mean 4,500?
Yeah.
Okay. To clarify for everyone listening, because we mentioned your $500 website in high school, and I
no.
thinking that you're charging $450 for
we're not doing triple digits anymore.
Just to clarify. Well, that's incredible. Talk about a leap, like being at $1,500 and then even just feeling the confidence in yourself as a creative, as a designer, as a business owner to charge $12,000. Like that is something to be really proud of. Like that's incredible.
That was a big one. I was so stoked, and like, I mean, it was a really big project for sure. Like there were so many deliverables, but um I remember sending out that RFP and not feeling confident. Like I did not know if I could charge that, and I like sat with myself and I had all of these like thoughts and questions, and I remember like I have a video of myself sending it out and being like, I don't know if this is valid, but this is what I think I'm worth right now, and we'll see what happens. And originally they said no, but then they came back and said, wait, actually, can we do it? And I was
Oh my
like,
gosh. Wait, they emailed back or whatever, no, and then how long after did they come back and say yes?
They emailed back like, no, like not in our budget. And I emailed back, I was like, oh, okay, like what is the budget that you're looking at? Like, this is why I'm charging that. Like I broke it down for them. And then they emailed back and were like, oh, okay, actually, let's do it. So very, very quickly. I think it was like I wasn't talking to the boss and then I was talking to the boss kind of thing. I don't know what was going on in their back end, but it was a big day for me.
That's incredible. And I love that you also didn't back down. Like you, the best way to book high ticket anything, but specifically web design, is to portray the value. And the fact that you responded, not being like, well, I'll do it for 6 or I'll do it for 7 or whatever.
Which is hard. I mean,
yeah, you were like, well, this is why I'm charging what I'm charging. Like it is valuable for you. And the fact that they saw that and responded and gave you a yes, that's fucking dope. Like that's so cool.
Yeah. I have a background in sales, and it wasn't like very long or crazy or anything, but I think what I learned during that short period has been so valuable to me as like a solo entrepreneur, because yes, you have to do, you know, the marketing and the finance, and you do all those things, but if you can't do the sale, you're going to lose out on so much money. And like, it is a competitive space for a vast majority of people. You're not like selling yourself. Like your Instagram is not probably that, it's not good enough to beat out someone that's offering less money if you don't know how to sell. And so I would so encourage anybody that's listening, if you don't feel comfortable in like the sale, to just do a little bit of research into that and not back down. That's like a classic 101 like sales tactic kind of thing that I wouldn't have had the confidence to do if I didn't feel like it was going to get me eventually where I wanted it to get me, which it did.
Yeah, absolutely. And feeling really confident in what you're delivering to.
That
for
prevents
sure. People from feeling comfortable selling themselves because there's fear of I'm not good enough, or maybe someone else could actually do it better than me, or like all these kind of imposter syndrome feelings that come up. But if you can try and get as grounded as possible and be like, what I'm delivering is worth it. It's worth this value. Like, let me just communicate. That's basically what selling is. You're just communicating in different ways. There's some strategy behind it, but you have to communicate, where I think people don't communicate enough, and they're not communicating why they need it and why they should buy it. It's so true.
Yeah, 100%.
So where is your business now? Like, what does it look like? How many days a week are you working? Do you have anyone under you? Like, what's your business?
So I work, I would say like 6 days a week, and then the next week I'll work 4 days. So like it really kind of goes on and off. I'm super ADHD, so you know, I can't always force myself to work when I hate to say like not in the mood, but like it's really important for me that I have strategies in place and systems that like I go heavy when I can and I give myself grace when I can't. So usually it's like 6 days on, 4 days off, something like that.
I love that.
I don't have anyone like salaried under me, but I have a small team of graphic designers, copywriters, and then some really techie dev people for some of my more like professional services clients that I'll work with on a pretty consistent basis for like individual projects. So yeah, most of the time it's just me sitting back here or at a coffee shop or on an airplane. I stack my calls like all on one day. So I'm usually just kind of roaming around. I do a lot of work really late at night. That's when I seem to be like the most creative. But I've been lucky in that I'm still like so passionate about the projects. Like, obviously, the business is not always like the most fun thing to run. Like, I don't like doing my finances, but I'm still so passionate about what I'm designing. And I've been really lucky that I'm able to be very picky about the clients that I work with, which allows me to just work on projects that I'm passionate about or that really like strike my creative side. So, I mean, I haven't burnt out yet.
I love.
Maybe I gotta get a more normal schedule. But yeah, it's been great.
How many clients a month are you working with on average?
It depends. So, like at the beginning of launching, I was doing probably 8 a month. And those were like much quicker turnover. This past 2 or 3 months, I've had a couple really big projects. And so I would say for those, we're doing around like 5 a month. And those are, like multi-month clients, which luckily should all be wrapping up this month. I'd like to get more into the space of doing more like, more website in a days or in a week so I can kind of increase those numbers just because I really enjoy like the onboarding process and working with new clients. But I also really like, building long-term relationships with clients. I have multiple clients where I've like redone their sites a couple years later and those are always fun. So I like having a mix.
Yeah, I love that. I love like the diversified client roster.
Keeps it interesting.
Yeah, totally. Where are you hovering as far as income, like on a monthly basis?
So I took all of June off basically. So that's kind of like fluctuated like my pipeline, but I'd say I'm hitting around like on average of like 12 to 14 a month, 14,000. Hopefully I'm kind of picking up right now, but yeah, this summer was pretty steady. I like really hunkered down and I got some systems in place that have allowed me to like continually be onboarding new clients. So that's been really nice not having to put.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible. I mean, $12,000 to $14,000 a month as like a digital nomad.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it keeps up. But
that's incredible. No, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. What courses have you taken?
So I've only taken CEO of Showit. I didn't go for the wealthy web designer route just because I've already had experience like setting up a business and like the LLC EIN process. But I am looking way more to dive into like the day rate library side of things, just because I've tried to like DIY those systems and I just think like, the knowledge is there. I just got to tap into it.
No, designer day rate. I kept thinking that when you were talking about day rates, it's a blueprint. Like if you want to streamline the onboarding processes and all of it, it's like, it's great. Highly recommend.
That'll be me next.
But well, okay, that's crazy. You've only taken CEO of Showit and you're absolutely killing it. Like that's wild.
CEO of Showit was great. Because I've been designing for so long, I think I was just waiting for that one platform to like really click with me. And I think CEO of Showit, it's just so similar to like Adobe and the interface. Like you just have so much creativity and you're not constrained by like all of these other builders just put these constraints on you. And I know how to code, but I prefer to like do it in an easy layout type of way. And it's way easier for the client when you do the handoff. And so I think I just, needed to like reignite that passion and be like, I just want to create. And that's what I found with that platform and like immediately was addicted. And I mean, you're the way you explain things in your videos, it's the only course I've ever invested in from something I found off social media. And honestly, like I was very anti-course before I tried it out. And I just think, it's totally worth the investment. I booked my first client like the next day. And it was just like, I don't know, it's been great since then. It's my favorite platform now for sure.
That's amazing. I literally love that. What's next for you? Like obviously day rates, obviously scaling. Where are you wanting to take your brand in the next 6 months to a year?
Oh, I mean, I haven't vocalized this yet to anyone, but I would really love, like I said, to kind of dive more into that, like digital nomad space and just share more of that online. It doesn't really match my brand the way that it is now. And I think that's something I've been like a little aware of. Also, I used to hate that term digital nomad. Like, I don't know why, it just didn't sit right with me. But I would love to be kind of like I don't know, share that lifestyle, share what I'm doing for work, and that I'm able to build like a real career while doing it. Just because I think, there's so many people out there that are like travel influencers, but there's nobody that I felt like I really resonated with that was giving me like you can have both. You can have a real career and something to be proud of and something you can, tell your grandparents about and will make sense to them and be traveling. And I think, I would love to kind of intertwine my brand more with that and make that like a bigger part of what I'm doing, just because it does intertwine with my work so much.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's a needed piece. And if you can like it, the best way that I can describe launching something or like facilitating a community or anything is if you want it for yourself, like if there's something missing in the marketplace and you can spot it and you would want it for yourself, that's like the best place to come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that for you. Love.
If anyone wants to do it, hit me up.
Yes. Seriously. Well, on that topic, where can people come hang out with you for all of like the digital nomads? I know you don't like that.
I'll start posting. This will give me
the traveling queens. Where can people come hang out with you?
All of my socials and my domain are the Clicked Creative. Clicked past tense and then creative. On Instagram, a little bit of TikTok, and on my website.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Your journey is so inspiring. And yeah, I love that even you can showcase that you can have it all. You can have both. You can have a career, you can travel, and you can make $12,000 to $14,000 a month. It's actually wild. And you're such a testament of that. And so I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Well, everyone go stalk her, go follow her. And with that, we'll see you guys next episode. Thank you. Bye.